Well, good morning, everyone. Happy May, and welcome to the next and hopefully last virtual edition of Mondays with the Mayor for all of my friends at the OPC. My name is Brian Barnett. I'm the mayor of the city of Rochester Hills, and for 2,000 years now, I've been doing Mondays with the Mayor for the first Monday of the month, and of course, over the last year and a half virtually, as we've still wanted to maintain our connection, maintain our time together, and hopefully still keep this forum and venue where I have a chance to chat and tell you a little bit about some of the things happening in the city. And normally, you have a chance to ask questions, poke around, find out some answers to some of the pool table and wood shop gossip that's out there in the city, and what restaurants are coming in and how the city's doing. Unfortunately, we've missed the back and forth two-way communication, but I still hope that you find value in me finding some time to share with you some of the latest things happening in the city. And while I don't know all the answers right now, I hope that perhaps, certainly this summer, maybe even in June, Lord willing, we'll be able to be back in person in a safe, socially distanced manner to have this Mondays with the Mayor back again face to face. I miss you a lot, and I do always enjoy that time together, and have gotten to really enjoy it over the years. Always a shout out to my friend Darlene Robinson, who has been with me since the very beginning, and I can't wait to sit next to her and continue our conversation. But let me fill you in on some of the things happening. Of course, in the city there is a lot. As the seasons turn, this really kind of makes our focus change here at the city level, and we get really busy. Think about all the departments that are just starting to come into to blossom into their busy seasons. You think about from a nerdy standpoint, from a budget standpoint, we go into our budget process right about now. So our fiscal team is working hard to create the budget that has to be presented to City Council this summer. And so we're in all the backstage processes of that, of going through prioritizing, looking at our financial situation and where we want to spend the taxpayer dollars, where we think we can get the most return. So from a budget side, we're really busy. From a park side, you can imagine the parks are booming, and now's the time that baseball fields are being rented, and seasons for kids soccer are coming together, and just about every night at Bloomer Park there are dozens of games being played, and as you can imagine, getting the parks ready for all of our summer visitors, getting the lake ready over at Spencer Innovation Hills. I'll talk to you a little bit more specifically about that in a minute, but our parks team is incredibly busy. In the Department of Public Services, we're already staring down our road projects. We have a couple big ones this year. I'll share those with you in just a minute. But not only the major road projects that we have, but just getting ready as the freeze thaw of this last 60 days has brought some havoc on some of our roads, and so we've got potholes that we're filling. They're beginning to get out into the water and sewer systems a little bit more. So just about every aspect of our city is really starting to come into their busy season. And of course, that means the building department as well. Everybody wants to get their deck done. Everybody wants to get their pool in. Everybody wants to get their basement in and get started on their projects. And so my colleagues here at the city of Rochester Hills are up to their eyeballs in the typical spring and summertime work that happens this time about every year. I talked to you about those road projects. Let me dive into those for a minute. Two big ones that will possibly impact your commute. The first is Hamlin Road. Now, in front of Innovation Hills, because I know you've all been there because I talk about it all the time, between Crooks on the east side and Adams on the west side, we're going to redo that whole stretch of road. There's a place called the Lakeside Apartment Center down there. The road is in pretty bad shape. We know there's going to be probably more traffic in that area in the future. And so it's time to do that road. And so that's going to be a big project for us. That'll start in sometime in the month of May, take most of the summer to complete. We'll have to do, it's a 4-lane boulevard there, so we'll probably have one direction of traffic for a while with one side of the road open, then the other side of the road open. I don't know all the details yet. We haven't gotten through all those planning meetings yet, but stay tuned for more information to know that that section of Hamlin will be going under the knife this summer. Another section that probably won't impact as many people, but it's an older section. It's the Butler Road section between the city of Auburn Hills and Adams Road. It's a road that services a few apartment complexes, condo complexes, and a big sub called Butler Ridge in the back, kind of on our border with Auburn Hills. And we're going to redo that road as well. So that road will take some time, and we'll start that project this month as well. Those are our two big projects. We do have some water and sewer projects over by Yates Cider Mill that might impact the road work a little bit. And then next year, some massive work happening over by Yates, where we're going to add a couple roundabouts and really add some pedestrian crossing and make that a much safer place. If you think about going over there to take your kids or grandkids to get donuts, it can be a little bit challenging. So that's a big project next year. You're going to see some advanced work on that this year. But the projects that you'll probably most be impacted by, Hamlin Road and Butler Road when it comes to road construction. Now, we also have a number of neighborhood streets being redone. Some of you might have already gotten the notice. There's some streets in my neighborhood that are being done. You got to pull the sprinklers back, pull out those brick pavers if you have them in there. But a lot of work being done in the neighborhoods. You can always go on the city's website at rochesterhills.org, click on our Department of Public Services. You can then check out all the road projects happening in the city, and it's a great place to get updated information on the progress of those projects as they happen throughout the summer. So that's a high-level thing. I know you always ask me a lot of questions about the road construction, and I'm happy to tell you that we've got another robust year of investing in our roads. And I think residents, while they have a little bit of short-time pain for long-term gain, they're used to it here in the city and know that we value our infrastructure. And we've always, unlike the state of Michigan, we've always made sure we've made it a priority. And I'm pretty proud of the condition of most of the roads in our community. If you like Mondays with the Mayor, and you don't mind listening to me, I would draw your attention to a new podcast that I've started. Now, some of you are very comfortable with podcasts. Some of you, this is probably a new word, and you've never listened to a podcast before. But they're pretty easy to find. Ask your kids or grandkids the easiest way to get them. You can get them on Spotify. I think you can even get them on our website, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're comfortable at least going onto the website, checking out the road projects, you can also get the podcast. But I've had some pretty cool ones. It's a way for me to basically communicate, introduce the community with a resident, a project, something going on that at least that I find interesting, and I think that most of our community will as well. I've done 4 or 5 so far. I've had the pastor of Woodside Church, pretty interesting conversation with how a megachurch goes through a pandemic and all the different satellite campuses they have. Most of you know Frank Beckman, the voice of Michigan football, and of course a longtime WJR radio personality, great friend. I had him on the program. We had some friends from the New Day Foundation, and one that was really interesting just recently, I talked to a graduate of Rochester High School who is now the flight director for NASA. She's responsible for all human flight in space. Think about that. This job's important. Your kids have an important job. Think about if you go to bed at night, wake up every morning, and you're responsible for all the humans in space. Pretty incredible. And she talked about some amazing things. She talked about whether or not those space movies are real. She also talked about what she missed most about living here in the city now that she lives down at Michigan Troll in Houston. And circling right back to where we were just a minute ago, Yates Donuts are what she misses most. So check out the podcast. It's another opportunity to hear about 20 to 25 minute conversation with me and an interesting member of our community. It's called Right Down the Street, and the goal of it is to bring interesting stories from our community to more people around here to just help celebrate some of the exciting things, the passions, and the people of Rochester Hills. So hopefully you'll check out the podcast. A couple other things just to mention. I've talked a lot about this, and many of you have seen this. In the Allens, live down there by the Auburn Road corridor. I had dinner there yesterday. It is really shaping up to be a beautiful, beautiful place. Lots of people sitting outside yesterday. It was gorgeous. Splash pad's getting ready to open, but something that's happening in the next month is something called Art on Auburn. And we had a big competition and asked students in K through 12 to draw what community means to them. And we got hundreds and hundreds of submissions. I think we had over almost 500 submissions. And then we asked for votes, and we had over 5,000 people vote. And we selected the winners with the help from our partners at the Paint Creek Center for the Arts. And we're going to be placing those art pieces actually on the road with some very special paint and pavement control markers and so forth. And they'll last about a decade. And so we're going to really spruce up that whole area with some art from some of the kids in our community, which I think is fantastic. That whole section of town is really coming together. There's a new restaurant coming to town, a Mexican restaurant coming down there by Johnny Black's. And so many cool things happening down in the Auburn Road section of our community. Art on Auburn is one of them. You'll get more information about that, but we're going to have a nice open house down there and celebrate all the artists as they get to see their work firsthand right on the street down there on Auburn Road in the city of Rochester. So Art on Auburn coming very soon. The actual date that we'll be doing that is June 3rd from 4 till 6:30. June 3rd, 4 till 6:30. You can get more information on that on our website. The other project that I'm super excited about, and you have to get out there and take a look at it, is Innovation Hills. We get so many compliments about the park, cool ways that it's meeting a need, whether it's people that go out there to walk to be alone, people that go out there to have their kids ride around in circles around the lake and burn off energy. But of course, what we're doing now is building the world's coolest playground. I think I can say that. I hope it is. We're spending a lot of money to make this something really unique. And when I asked our team to build this, I said, I don't want anything that you can find anywhere else in any other park. I want it to be completely cool. And so we've got this massive tree that's going to go in the center that's about 3 or 4 stories tall. Our kids are going to climb all over with a bridge. It's just like the Clinton River to take you to it. You actually enter the playground on the second floor and then slide into the rest of the playground, kids and adults alike. So that should be pretty cool. I was out there the other day. We've dug the river. There's a river that's going to go through the park and the playground, so kids can play with water and see how a river works, and just so many things. You might have seen the 2 shelters have already gone up. They're going to have living roofs on them. One's solar panels, one's going to have a living roof. It's really going to be awesome. And it's all happening in the next 60 days. And so if you want to get out there and take a look at this playground coming out of the ground, that's going to be fantastic. The council also approved another boardwalk. If you've been out there, you know where the boardwalk dead ends. We're going to loop that back to the playground. So that's really exciting for us to have more boardwalked areas for people to enjoy. And one of the things that we've asked this month, throughout the month of May, and maybe you can help us with this, if you've enjoyed Innovation Hills, if you've been out there, if you share a little bit of my passion for that park, we're in a really unique situation where we're raising money to try to help fund and offset some of the costs for the playground. And this program is kind of unique. It's with the MEDC, the Michigan Department of Michigan Economic Development Corporation. That's it. And they have a program where if you apply, if you raise $50,000, they'll match $50,000. If you raise $49,900, they'll give you nothing. So our community has to get $50,000 in order to reach their dollar for dollar match. And at the moment, we started April 1st, we're at about $38,000. So we have one more month to raise another, for $12 or $13,000. People are sending $100 checks, $50 checks, $20 checks. Whatever you think you might be interested in, you can go to rochesterhills.org/playground and make a contribution. And this is really fun because we're getting students and kids and seniors and all sorts of folks that have had a unique experience or have created a family memory at the park as a part of this and helping us contribute to raise the money. So we're really excited about that. Would encourage you to visit rochesterhills.org/playground and maybe consider making a small donation. We certainly would appreciate that. I'm excited about Innovation Hills. I'm excited to get out there, and maybe we can have a Mondays with the Mayor out there sometime soon in the summer, because it's an absolutely fantastic place to check out. And like I said, we're really excited about it. Well, one other thing, and I'm going to set this up and leave you with a video at the end. I will never forget having one of the mayors of another community in Southeast Michigan in my city. And we were driving around, and I had gone to his city and did a tour with him, and he had come to my city, and he was on a tour with me. He was in my car. We're driving around, and I showed him a bunch of cool things. I showed him cool parks. I showed him our city hall building and Meadowbrook Hall, some things that we really celebrate around here. And at the end of the visit, he said, "You know what's most unique about your community?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "The green." He said, "The trees." He goes, "You have trees everywhere." And I didn't really think about it. Sometimes you kind of take them for granted. But when I drove through his city, I recognized that they don't have the kind of tree cover and canopy and the green. And I know we have a lot of building in the city, and that's because we're a great place to be and people want to be here. But we've done a good job of maintaining the trees, the tree canopy, the tree network, and the hills and rivers that kind of dot our community. And for him, that was more impressive than Meadowbrook Hall or our nice city hall building or our pretty nice DPS building. And so this past week was Arbor Day, and we celebrate it every year. with a couple traditional events. We have a very specific and intentional focus on trees. We plant a specific number of trees every year. We manage our tree canopy. Sometimes if it's important, we spray to keep the nasty things out in order to protect our trees. We did two tree plantings last week. One was at Meadowbrook Hall and one was at Innovation Hills. The one at Innovation Hills was pretty unique because it honored L. Brooks Patterson, and L. Brooks Patterson's family planted the tree. So it was really kind of a nice opportunity for us to honor his legacy. And of course, planting a tree is all about legacy. But Matt Eisenhower from our Department of Parks and Natural Resources put together a little video about the value of trees. And again, it's something that so often we take for granted until you realize you don't have them. Some of you might remember a tree-lined street, and then emerald ash borer came. We had to cut down all the trees, and it looks completely different. We don't always recognize what it is until it's gone. So we want to celebrate trees in Rochester Hills this spring. If you want a free tree, contact my office. We'll get you one to plant. We are grateful for God's blessings on our community, especially in terms of the natural beauty. We want to do our part to be good stewards and maintain that. So take a look at this video. Like I said, I hope that maybe in June we'll be able to be back in person. If not, for sure, I'm going to say for sure, July. Thanks for being great supporters and friends. If there's ever anything I can do for you, make sure you contact me at the City of Rochester Hills at the phone number listed on the screen below. And if there's anything else, like I said, that I can answer for you, don't forget to email or reach out in any way. I miss my senior friends. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe, and we will see you hopefully in June. Take a look at this video. God bless.
Hi, my name is Matt Einhauser. I'm the Natural Resources Manager with the City of Rochester Hills in the Parks and Natural Resources Department. Today we're here to talk to you about Arbor Day and trees. What is Arbor Day? Arbor Day is the celebration of trees. Throughout the world, in different countries, different communities, groups, people celebrate trees and the benefits that they provide us all. And they do that through different events or just planting a tree. Rochester Hills has always valued our trees and our community canopy. And for 31 years, we have been recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA community. In fact, our city logo has the beb oak on it, and the beb oak can be found on Auburn Road and Livernois and is a tree that has been there for over 200 years. It's Michigan's largest beb oak, and it's a champion tree. So why are trees important to us? What do they provide us in the city? Well, number one, products. So wood for building houses or for a pencil. Material like fiber that creates paper. Bark that creates products like cork. Sap to make syrup or rubber. Seeds and fruit that provide us food like coffee or chocolate. Also, it provides a lot of these same things to different animals and wildlife throughout the city. Beyond the physical products that trees provide, they also provide many other things that you might not physically see, like mental and physical health benefits. Studies have shown that trees are linked to people being happier and healthier. Barriers to sun, providing shade in our parks and around our homes. Barriers to wind and sound, which is important in a city where you have cars and roads nearby. They provide water quality benefits. They help filter that water and bring it up through their roots, and also air quality benefits by filtering air with their leaves. Now let's take a look at some of the things that we can do for trees. And to do that, I'll send it over to Jerry Pink, our lead arborist.
Thank you, Matt. Well, Matt went over a bunch of things that trees do for us. I guess I'm going to ask, what can we do to return the favor? What can we do to help trees? Well, for starters, if you have a tree already, one thing you can do is protect it. What are we protecting it from? Matt mentioned earlier, trees provide food for wildlife. That would be a good start. Many animals want to eat your tree. So what we're going to propose you do is to try to protect your tree from larger animals. Small trees are going to need some kind of cage of some sort to keep another animal from coming up and eating it. What else we want to do for the trees? Well, we can put mulch down, wood chip mulch. What that does is help provide a moist soil environment, which is more natural for the tree. It's also like the forest floor where the tree would be. It provides a place for micronutrients and small critters to work the soil and make the soil good. And what it also does is, getting back to tree protection, it keeps people away from the tree. One thing we have to protect the tree from, believe it or not, is ourselves. If you're running the lawnmower or the weed whip, you might accidentally get too close to the tree and kill it. So if you have that ring of mulch down, that will help keep the weed whip and the lawnmower away. What else can we do for the trees? Well, if the tree looks like it could use some water, we could water it, especially in the middle of a hot, dry summer day. Keep an eye on the tree. If it looks like it's getting a little wilty, it never hurts to put the hose near the tree and run it very gently for the day. We can also fertilize the tree if it needs it, spring or fall. One thing that is really important as far as taking care of your tree goes would be to trim the tree. If the tree has low branches and it's getting hit by cars in the driveway or cars in the road, that's constantly opening a wound in the tree. So remove or trim back branches that are getting hit by vehicles. So we've talked about what we can do with trees that we have already. What if you don't have a tree? Well, one thing we can do is plant a tree, and that's a great thing we can do for this city here. And I'm going to show you quickly how we plant trees here, especially small seedlings. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to plant a tree. What's the first thing that we do when we're going to plant a tree? We dig a hole, right? Wrong. I said we've got to talk to Mom and Dad first, because the tree is the spruce tree. These are white spruce trees, and it will eventually get that big. That's about a 50-year-old tree, 40-year-old tree. Your trees are going to get that big because you're doing the right thing and you're planting them the right way. So once Mom and Dad have decided we've got a good spot for the tree, this is what we do. I've removed the sod already. So this is all competition. All this grass is competition for your little seedling. So take the competition away right off the bat. Dig your hole deep enough to accommodate the roots on your seedling. And your seedling is going to be a little bit smaller than this, but you got the general idea here. So the soil's been loosened, the competition's been pulled away. We dig down to accommodate the roots. Gently put them in there. Now we've got our roots here. It seems obvious, kids, but it's easy to mess up. Roots here, stem here. This part does not go underground. This part does. The tree will die if you put too much of that underground. So we gently work the soil back around the tree, having the up portion up as straight as you can. There we go. Are we done? No. What we want to do next, this is the mulch we talked about. This will keep Dad or you, if you're cutting the grass on your own, away from hitting it with the lawnmower. Keep the string trimmer away, keep the grass from coming back. So we've got our mulch, keep the soil moist. We've got our stem guard to protect the tree from animals. And a little stake helps too, especially a taller one. It'll help keep the stem guard there. And it'll help if you're close to it that you don't step on it. You'll see the stem guard and that stake. So there you have it. A little bit of water. And we're done. Thank you guys for watching, and happy Arbor Day.
Thanks for joining us, and get out there and celebrate Arbor Day this year by planting a tree. You can contact us if you have any questions at forestry@rochesterhills.org or give us a call in the Parks and Natural Resources Department. Thank you and have a great Arbor Day.